How's it going, everybody? My name is Philip, and today we're going to be reacting to Americans living abroad, first time realizing how messed up you are because of America. Obviously, that's not how they phrased it. First time you realized America really messed you up. Part 1, TikTok. Now, okay, here's the thing. I don't really watch TikTok. I'm not big on TikTok. Listen, when I originally heard that TikTok was going to become a thing, I was thinking, oh, cool, it's going to be like the new Vine. And then, I mean, it eventually has, but at first it was nothing but people doing very cringy dances and very cringy music stuff. So I was like, oh, that's what that is. Not even going to bother with TikTok. So I just decided not to go with it. And now people are blowing up on TikTok, which is kind of hilarious. That I thought about doing it, and then I decided not to. And then, honestly, I don't even know what I would have been doing, honestly. But, so anyways, I don't know. I don't really watch anything on TikTok. So this is going to be quite interesting. I don't know if there's a limit on how long the TikToks can be. But, yeah, let's check it out. Because the one thing that I've learned is that America is definitely massively fucked. So let's see other people's experience, because that's gonna be fun.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I've been living in New Zealand for the last 4 years, and at work there was an American flag, and I jokingly went and put my hand over my heart and said the Pledge of Allegiance, and everyone was kind of like, what is that? And I was like, oh, it's the Pledge of Allegiance. So basically, growing up every day at school at like 9 o'clock or whatever, we would all stand up and the whole class would recite the Pledge of Allegiance with our hands over our hearts to
I remember
the
that.
American flag in the corner of the room. And my coworkers were like, what? And,
really?
you know, when you say it out loud, it sounds a bit culty.
If you're an American currently...
Okay. I never thought of it that way. Yo, this is how they brainwash us, guys. This is how they brainwash us. Oh my god, I never thought of it that way, but I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So when I was in high school, I was a lifeguard, and during my lifeguard training, they taught us that before we even administered first aid or CPR, we had to ask for consent to avoid being sued.
Oh my
Fast
gosh.
forward a couple of years, and I'm in London as a waitress, and my company sends me to go do CPR training. And while I'm there, they go over the same stuff that I learned in the States, but I notice that they're completely glossing over this one particular area. So I raise my hand and I ask, what are the laws here? Like, how do you avoid being sued if something goes wrong? To which every single person in the room starts laughing at me. It says, oh, you're American, right? Yeah, no one here is going to sue you for trying to save their life.
Oh my gosh. So I got a story about this. So my parents are at Costco. I don't know if there's Costco everywhere else, but they're in Costco, right? Like, I'm talking about other countries and whatnot. Anyways, there's this old man. I think they said he was an old man. There's this old man. He was kind of wobbly, and he was in front of them, and, you know, social distancing and whatnot. So they're far back enough that they just don't catch him, or they don't. Yeah. Anyways, this guy falls backwards, smacks his head on the ground. Blood starts, you know, pouring out of his fucking head. And, you know, my parents are like, oh, shit. They drop their stuff. You know, they put things, and they put their hands down to help him. And there's other people literally backing away. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not trying to get sued. Like, this is what is wrong with the U.S. You know, it's just... And my parents was like, get over it. He needs help. Like, what the fuck? It's so stupid.
An American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really
So in the U.S., I regularly get pneumonia. Sometimes I get like pneumonia and bronchitis, but pretty much all, you know, like clockwork, I get it. I had just moved to Scotland for my master's, and I was coming down with a respiratory infection like I do every year. It was just the early onsets of pneumonia, but like normally I wait to the point of where I'm like literally unable to breathe before I go to the doctor because it's expensive in the US. Well, here I was like, you know what? I'm here. I paid for the NHS. Let me go get it. Saw the doctor, gave me a prescription. I went to the pharmacy to pick up my medication, something that I literally would not be able to afford with my minimum wage job and being a full-time student.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it to me for free because it was necessary, and I almost cried in the pharmacy. Like tears were welling in my eyes.
This one time that made you realize that America really messed you up.
Okay, so I live in New York now, but I used to live in England, and one time I was out at this
Why'd
bar
he come
with
back?
friends, and these two cops walked by. And one of my friends was like, oh, I wonder why there are cops out right now. And I looked at the cops, and I got really confused, and I was like, those are cops? And my friends were like, yeah. And I was like, they don't have guns. And everyone was like, why would they have guns? They were like so aghast at that question. And I was realized in that moment and learned that guns, there are so few guns in the UK, and it's such not an issue that like the everyday cop does not carry a gun. And I was just, there are houses in America that have seen more guns in them than a fresh vegetable. It blew my fucking mind.
Yo.
I think about it all the time.
Seriously?
I hate guns so much. So
why did he come back? No, but okay, so that's one thing. Is it like big city cops that normally carry guns, or is it just no cops in general? Because that would make so much sense. Yo, I've even gone as far as, honestly, cops should start carrying rubber bullets in their guns instead of actual bullets. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know if you can die from rubber bullets, but I know they're going to hurt like hell. I mean, I've never been shot by a rubber bullet myself, but I'm guessing that they will hurt like hell. Use that shit and then have him, be curled up on the floor as you're shooting them. Obviously, you should probably stop at some point. But, with the beanbag, there's so many different type of ammo. And I only know this because of Burn Notice. Beanbag rounds. You got rubber bullets. Not necessarily blanks because that doesn't do shit. That just makes a noise, and primarily for TV and whatnot. But there's alternate forms of ammo that we can seriously use to help stop people. But no, we got to be violent. We got to make sure that they're either dead or on death's door.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
In the U.S., I could not let my 11-year-old son go outside and play by himself. Someone would call the cops, or something would legitimately happen to him, and so
why?
There was no way. And
what was he doing?
Germany, my husband, who's a German national, suggested that he go outside and play by himself because we would not have to worry.
If you're an American currently living abroad...
Wait, okay, so what is he doing at 11 years old for people to call the cops? Just because he's out by himself? That's something that I've never experienced. I had a big backyard, so it's like I could always just go in the backyard and play. But even still, I would go in the front yard. My neighbors knew who I was. Across the street, down the street a bit, down towards the right and shit. So it's just like, I would literally go outside in the front and rollerblade down the street. That one I don't understand, personally. I guess I'm just in a very safe neighborhood, or I was just taught nice things or taught properly, I guess. I don't know. That one's a bit strange to me personally.
What is one time that made you realize that America really...
So I didn't realize this until I moved abroad, but Americans have a very strange concept of freedom. When you're growing up, you're always told that America is such an amazing place.
Yeah, we're the land of the free and home of the brave.
Land of the free, home of the brave, but I keep hearing these criticisms from people like, oh yeah, but America has the most freedom. Wow, yeah, freedom. I mean, there may be a few exceptions or nuances, but in the UK, you're still free. That is the biggest lie that Americans are ever told, that there aren't other free places. I don't understand.
Yeah.
And if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like the concept is kind of destroying American democracy. How ironic. They need to kind of understand that they need to work on things to make themselves better and more free for their citizens.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, so I'm not currently living abroad, but I did live in Australia for a few months.
Hey, all right.
And one night while I was there, I got a little bit too crazy, and I ended up on public transportation without a phone, and I had to find my way back to my apartment. And I got lost, and while I got off the tram to get onto a different tram to take me home, a middle-aged gentleman came up to me, and I immediately went into attack mode, and I was like going to kill him. And he was like, no, I was just gonna tell you which tram to take to get back to Preston. And that was when I realized that in Australia, I didn't need to be afraid. Like, granted, take precautions, but I didn't need to be afraid of every man. But in America, I still am.
If you're an American currently
yeah, it's kind
abroad,
of interesting.
What is one time
Definitely.
that made you realize that America...
So I don't live abroad anymore, but for half of 2018, I lived in Germany, and I have so many stories.
Yo, okay, I have a question. Why are these people moving back? Why are they moving back? Like, okay, my main reason for not moving away is family. That's my main. I know I always say, oh, but the sports and blah, blah. No, it's just gonna throw it out there. My family, okay. Like my grandmother lives down the street from me. My aunts and uncles live kind of around the same area within like an hour or two drive. You know, my other grandmother lives about 3 hours north and stuff. So literally, you know, it's just it's family related, and that's the big thing. But why are they moving back? They moved away. Enjoy it. Don't come back. That's mean, but don't come back. Prove to the U.S. that we're fucked here.
The town that I lived in had like a main plaza area, and there was a cafe in that plaza. So a couple of my other American friends and I decided to try it out one day, and there was a construction site nearby. We heard a really loud bang, and, you know, we kind of assumed that someone had fired a gun, and so we, like, ducked for cover, and then we were looking around frantically, trying to find, like, a place that we could run to or hide to get out of the situation, and then we realized that no one had shot a gun. No, it was a loud bang from the construction site. That's it. That's all it was.
Yeah.
We'd been speaking in English, and we all have really obvious American accents, so all the Germans around us gave us these really sad looks, like, oh, these poor, poor Americans.
Okay. I'm sorry for pausing it so much, but there's so much in this that I can somewhat relate to through my parents or through other experiences and whatnot. But there's another sad one. Okay? So this was years ago. I don't know if I was born yet or if this was before I was born. My mom worked in Oakland, California. And so she's teaching. So she's a teacher. So she's teaching a class. She teaches like elementary school. So probably like 3rd, 4th, 5th grade about. And all of a sudden a car backfires. And all the kids get down and they get down and they're like, Miss McGowan, get on the floor. And my mom says, what are you doing? That was a car backfire. Or it was like, what are you doing? Like, someone's shooting. No, and I'm like, no. That was a car backfiring. And that's just how fucked up the U.S. is. Like, my gosh.
American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Okay, so I moved to Sweden.
Damn, okay.
And when I got here, I wasn't feeling too well, so I went to the doctor, and the doctor recommended that I get an EKG, an electrocardiogram. Now, instead of worrying about my health, my first reaction was, I'm sorry, I don't know if I can get one of those, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to afford it. And this sweet little man, this sweet, amazing doctor, goes, did you not pay the, like, $20 when you got here? I ended up getting a regular EKG, a 24-hour-long EKG, a blood test, and a freaking checkup for $20.
Damn.
Part of this entire situation is that I am getting better, and I am getting the medical attention I need without going broke.
How
strange is that?
You realize that America really messed you up.
I pride myself on being an American. I didn't make it out before COVID, but I went to Norway. And I fell in love with Norway, read about it, researched it, and I was like, I've got to visit first. And I only went for a week, and it was for the Infernal Metal Festival. And for the first time in my life, I was actually called an American. They didn't assume where I was from. And there was this beautiful Norwegian elder, and she says, "God påske." And I said, "Beklager, jeg snakker litt norsk." And I said, basically, she said, "Happy Easter." And I said, "I'm sorry, I don't speak a lot of Norwegian." And she goes, "Oh, you're an American." And she didn't worry about her purse. She didn't look at me sideways. And I cried. I cried when I left, because for the first time, I was able to be just an American. I didn't even hardly drink, didn't do anything crazy.
If you're an American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really...
So during the first lockdown, we have an elderly neighbor, and we would go and check in on her every once in a while and like get her groceries if she needed. And progressively, she started not be able to breathe very well. And
yo, I'm sorry. Did anyone else notice the first shirt that popped up when she was talking? I'm sorry. We're going back.
Her groceries if she needed, and
why? What is that? Is that is so messed up. Oh my gosh.
Progressively, she started not be able to breathe very well, and we knew it wasn't COVID because she had it before. But like at one point, it was like she couldn't even get to the door without like literally not being able to breathe and having to sit down. So my partner decided that we needed to call an ambulance for her and get her to the hospital pronto. And when he told me that he was going to call an ambulance, the first thing that I said was, "Are you sure? Can she afford an ambulance? Like we could just drive her." And it wasn't until my partner looked at me like, and that it clicked that, oh, that's not a worry here. And then I went upstairs and cried, because it really smacked me in the face that as Americans, we are conditioned to not worry about someone's health first, but to worry about whether or not they can financially afford to see a doctor and get help.
An American currently living abroad, what is one time that made you realize that America really messed you?
So I moved to Germany in 2018 as a study abroad student, and I had a nice apartment that was on the ground floor with a nice patio, a big door that opened that led to the patio. And I was minding my own business in bed one day. The door was wide open. I had my noise-canceling headphones on, and I heard these really loud banging noises coming from outside that weren't very far. And I'm like, that's not a firework or a firecracker. It can't be. I freak out because as an American, I'm like, I'm about to get shot. Somebody is shooting up all of the student apartments right now. So I call all of my friends and I'm like, did you hear that? Am I crazy? Do we need to call the police and whatever? And they're like, I don't know, but yeah, maybe call your boyfriend who's German and like ask him. So I call my boyfriend and I'm like, watching, we just heard this stuff, like what's going on? And he's like, not to worry. Here in Germany, we don't have shooters. Those are probably just firecrackers. And I'm just like, I'm damaged. Like, we are all damaged and freaking out about freaking firecrackers. We think we're going to get shot up.
Yeah. What is one time that made you realize that America really messed you up?
Hey, I live in Ireland and I've lived most of my adult life here. I moved to Ireland in 1995.
Wow.
My teenage daughter was born here many years ago, and when she was born, I spent 2 nights in hospital before she was born. I had an emergency cesarean section, and then I spent a further 6 nights afterwards.
Damn.
The total cost to me was 0. I kept asking them, like, are you sure no one wants my credit card? Like, you want my details so you can send me the bill? And they would just like laugh, like, oh, you're American, there's no bill. So 8 nights in hospital, emergency procedure, 0 bill.
Why is that so shocking? Like, that's ridiculous.
You realize that America really messed you up.
Okay, I have another one. When I was studying in Spain, we had our orientation the first week of classes, and our program director sat us all down and had to explain our health insurance to us and how it worked. And basically it worked that you paid like €1,000 for the semester and you got health insurance, like free health insurance for everything.
Oh, nice.
Everything. And she had to sit us down, and she had this big group of Americans in a room, and she was like, listen, if you are sick, go to the doctor. And we were all like,
no.
Yes. And she was like, no, like, Americans don't go to the doctor. You won't go to the doctor when you're sick. So I have to tell you every year to do this, and still kids will just put off going to the doctor because you're used to just like pushing through illness. No matter what it is, I don't care if it's a cold, go to the doctor. And she had to actually like spell that out for us.
What's a really weird thing that your body does that you're not sure anybody else's body does.
Since I was a little kid, I've been able to do this with my hands. Basically, I can crack all my fingers all the time, anytime. Watch.
That's weird. Also, that was in a different video, so that's...
It starts hurting after a while, but yeah.
Rich Mom Starter Pack, Brooklyn Edition. So you and
yeah, I'm gonna skip you. So I definitely need to check out part 2 on that. That is definitely sad. That is truly sad, honestly. I'm sure you guys saw my realization as to when America really fucked me up or messed me up. If I need to be nice about it, on my previous reactions to such things as medical bills and how much McDonald's employees get paid in what, Norway? Like the fuck? But I'm it's one of those things where I'm like I'm kind of interested, but I need to do more research on countries. That's what it was. So far I feel like I know the most about England and Ukraine because of my previous videos on Ukraine. So I was like, oh, Ukraine would be a nice place. There's a lot of pretty girls there, blah, blah, blah. Not so much right now. Really, everything on my heart and prayers and whatnot go out to Ukraine and all their people there. Hope they're staying safe. I know it's kind of difficult to do so right now, but... in Australia, I've been wanting to learn a lot more about Australia and New Zealand, actually. I'm sorry, New Zealanders. I tend to forget a lot. And all of a sudden, it just comes back every once in a while. I was like, oh yeah, I know this. And yo, New Zealand. I'm down for New Zealand as well. I heard you guys got some pretty girls as well. I'm joking, okay? Partially. But, it's just, it's the issue of my family. Like, I absolutely love my family so much that I think maybe once my grandparents... both my grandmothers pass, as much as I don't want them to, it kind of tends to happen with life, and maybe once that's when, but I don't know how long that's gonna be. That's the issue. It's just, but then again, you do get a shit ton of time off to for vacations and whatnot. I could literally take like a couple weeks off, come back, spend time with family, and then, go back. Problem solved. There we go. But damn. Yeah, no, this is definitely ridiculous. But thank you guys so much for watching. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, I will be doing a part 2 to this because there's a part 2. Strangely enough. And let me know if there's any other TikTok related stuff that you guys like me to react to. Because I don't really watch a whole hell of a lot of TikTok. I love paranormal and scary stuff. That's always really fun. And if it's not on Nuke's top 5, then I don't tend to watch it. So, and if it's not stupid, like I've seen Siren Man videos. Like, what the hell is that? That's just CGI. Is Siren Man real? No, it's not. You can tell that that's fake. It's BS. But yeah, any other scary related stuff and whatnot, horror stuff, let me know in the comment section below. And more of this, because this makes me very sad. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.